So, is the media behind the Pompeo diss, and are mainstream media outlets also doing the work of the president's critics by lobbing anonymous criticism at the attorney general? Let's talk about it with Democratic strategist Richard Goodstein and president of the Media Research Center, Brent Bozell. Great to have both of you with us.
Hey, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
Okay, so there's been a lot of speculation about what led to this award being yanked from Secretary Pompeo, completely disinvited from the event. I've talked to someone who saw some of the email communications back and forth with the foundation and the secretary, and there was some expression that there was concern that this administration had not been supportive of freedom of the press or of journalists, and that was interfering with their ability to highlight the good things that have been happening. Brett, does that work for you?
Well, don't you find it amazing that you yank away an award you're going to give to the Secretary of State and don't give a reason for it? I mean, to me, it's something that it's utter cowardice on the part of the people who did this, that they would buckle to some pressure from somebody, from some people, but the Secretary himself knows what it is because he was the one who proffered the explanation when he said it was the media. Reporters, journalistic organizations were threatening to disrupt this, which is why they had to do it.
Well, Richard, in the Washington Post, an opinion piece, Mark Thiessen writes this, under the headline, "This is how bad Trump derangement syndrome's gotten in Washington." It says, by any objective criteria, Pompeo deserved the award. In just over 2 years in office, President Trump has secured the release of 20 people. That's more captives freed in 2 years than President Barack Obama got released in 8. I mean, that's the work of this organization. You would think that they would want to celebrate such good circumstances and results.
Right. And at the risk of being snarky, Twitter includes a statement from 3 hours ago that the Foley Foundation put out that said there's one specific reason that they decided to disinvite the Secretary of State, and that's because the administration was gutless by not pressing for accountability around the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Look, remember, this foundation stands up for press freedom and for human rights. And you've got a president who says the press is the enemy of the people. So you can't exactly fault them for kind of distancing themselves from somebody who's so slavishly supporting a president who says the press is the enemy of the people. That's what this foundation...
Well, then why give him the award in the first place?
Well, you know, I think they probably did it before the gutlessness was displayed around the Saudis and Khashoggi. And I think once that was in full display, they just couldn't live with themselves. And incidentally, none of these people in the press, Christiane Amanpour, and all these other mainstream groups didn't disassociate themselves publicly. They would have had they been so revolted at the prospect of giving this award. So I'm just saying, I'm just basing my statement on what the foundation said, not on what anybody's reporting.
Okay. I also want to ask you both quickly to weigh in on these anonymous sources that are speaking up, bubbling up, saying that they're unhappy. Members of the Mueller team speaking to associates who then apparently the associates are the ones who are feeding to the New York Times, Washington Post, and others about this. Quick comment from you both on that. Brett, to you first.
First, I counted 5 times where they used the word some. As usual, they don't cite the sources, but even better than this, Shannon, it's a 25-paragraph story. It took them until paragraph 16 to say they don't even know what the problem is. There is no specificity on what the problem is coming from people who aren't identified. This is a story?
Yeah, the problem is that the Mueller staff wrote a summary that was designed to be made public, and instead Barr substituted his very truncated summary, which incidentally said the president wasn't exonerated. And here the president says the exact opposite. What, of course, would you expect from this White House?
Okay, but the DOJ released an official statement, said every page of the Mueller report was marked.
And Shannon,
it was with confidential information, and they didn't have the liberty to release that. The Attorney General tried to, quickly as possible, put out the bottom line. Wasn't meant to be a summary. But a lot of folks think he's going to beat that April 15th deadline because he has pledged, as he did during his confirmation hearings, that he would put out as much as possible. So let's wait and see. And if it seems truncated, then I'm sure the subpoenas will start flying.
We'll see.
Richard and Brett, thank you both.
Thank you.